So I wanted to take a few minutes with this video to talk about 4 interesting PlayStation 5 stories, and if you could hit that like button on the video, thank you to those that do it, and as always, it's very much appreciated. Now, there's been a lot of news and rumors floating around this week that literally started popping off after my Monday video for some reason. Today, we're going to go over the big update Sony dropped recently, Sony going full force on PlayStation 3, 2, 1, PlayStation Portable, and maybe even PS Vita backwards compatibility for PlayStation 5 and beyond. PlayStation Plus Premium got news this week with trials, and a whole controversy came out of it, and the Last of Us remake has essentially been confirmed. First, have you ever played The Last of Us 1 before or not? I know some people might find that question crazy, but these people do exist. I've obviously played the game myself. I've played it twice actually on PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4, but that's just my situation. What about you guys? Have you ever played The Last of Us 1 or not? Let me know down in the comments below. Now, diving into the first story of the video, the PS Plus Trials news. So as we know, PS Plus Premium tier has a trials feature which allows you to play games before buying them. Recently, we got more information on that. According to website Game Developer, Sony is requiring developers to add trial modes to their future games that have to be at minimum 2 hours long. So they're not going to add it for every existing title on the store. It's for future titles. This is not also for all games, it seems. It's only for games above the price of $34. Game Developer updated their article here saying that the $34 number is wholesale pricing and not retail pricing, which I'm not sure how that applies here, since wholesale pricing is what a company charges a retailer to buy products in bulk, versus retail pricing, which is what the retail prices the products for the consumer. I'm not sure how that applies here. The trials can be added to a game 3 months after it's released at the most, it seems like, and must stay on the store for 12 months. One clear thing to point out is this doesn't stop developers from having their own demos, free weekends, etc. They want to release to everyone else like before. They can still do that. Sony is not blocking demos into this subscription service. If developers want to release their own demos, they can. So I have 3 points on this topic to keep it simple. Point number 1. Am I looking forward to trials? Yes, I am. Having the chance to play most games for 2 hours minimum or more is great to me. Point number 2, refunds versus trials. So when I first heard about this trials information and saw the 2-hour mark, I thought of refunds as well, since refund policies on Steam and Xbox allow you to play for at most 2 hours and get a refund if you want via their automated systems, which work pretty well. Sony's refund system is pretty garbage in comparison. We don't have to debate on that. It just is, and hopefully it changes in time. For this service though, trials, it's very different. You're not going to buy 10 games on Steam and refund 10 games on Steam just to try them out. At some point, I also assumed you'd get flagged for abusing the system. You'll also need several $100s depending on the games to do this, versus trials, which you can just play all those games and delete them when you're done if you don't want to buy them. Seeing this comparison was funny considering the difference here if you just give it a few minutes to think about it. Point number 3, should this be free? If Sony is compensating developers for adding trials, then I get why it's on the service. If they're not compensating anyone and just simply forcing developers to add it, which would be lame, then it should be free for everyone to use. Either way, I'm looking forward to the service and the games it brings. Now, diving into the second story of the video, the Last of Us Remake Factions 2 and Last of Us 2 Remastered. Earlier this year, we heard that Sony is set to release these 3 products, Last of Us 2 Remastered, the Last of Us 1 Remake Factions 2 later this year, since they're almost done. The Last of Us Remake, actually, we heard about as early as last year, but now diving into today's news, reading from VGC, a Naughty Dog quality assurance tester has listed an unannounced remake project on his LinkedIn profile. According to his online resume, Corey Hong has worked at the Santa Monica, California-based studio since 2019, doing QA work on The Last of Us Part 2, Uncharted Legacy of Thieves Collection, and 2 unannounced projects, one a remake and the other a multiplayer title. Bloomberg first reported last April that a remake of 2013's PS3 game The Last of Us was in the works for PlayStation 5. So at this point, with multiple sources backing up a Last of Us remake being in the works, it seems like this is pretty much the confirmation, seeing it listed here on the job on this person's LinkedIn profile. Now, it's just a matter of when it'll release. Rumors have it for later this year, so let's see if that happens. As I've said before, I mainly care about Factions 2 dropping this year, more so than The Last of Us Remake or Last of Us 2 Remastered. Now, diving into the third story of the video, the big update drops. So for a while now, people have been asking about VRR, and not too long ago, Sony confirmed it was coming in the coming months, and what do you know, it just went live yesterday with no update, just a restart of your system and you're good to go. It looks like they probably included it in a previous update and opened it for use just yesterday. Again, for people who don't know, VRR matches your TV's refresh rate to what the system is dishing out in terms of frames to give you smoother gameplay. Your TV, of course, has to support VRR as well for this to work. Several developers have come out with patch support for VRR on PlayStation 5, including the amazing people at Insomniac Games with Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, the game of the year for 2021 for me, Spider-Man Remastered, and Miles Morales. You also have Activision with Black Ops Cold War and Vanguard, and many more on the list, which I'll have linked in the description. VRR on PlayStation 5 can also work on games that don't have patch support, but there could be issues there, as Sony mentions. Now, what are the results here? Taking in Insomniac games like Spider-Man Remastered and Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, which have uncapped frame rates now, meaning they can go above 30 frames or above 60 on those respective modes. People have mentioned that for Spider-Man Remastered or Spider-Man Miles Morales, actually, on Performance RT mode, they're getting above 100 frames per second, which is insane. This is 100 frames per second with ray tracing enabled. I don't think we have that. This also goes the same for Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, which is a visual juggernaut, but even there in Performance RT mode, you're getting above 80 FPS, which is amazing considering how great that game looks. Of course, VRR isn't boosting these frames up. This is happening because Insomniac Games uncapped the FPS on those respective games, and VRR is just making the gameplay smoother. Of course, without VRR, those uncapped frame rates would kind of look choppy at some points and would kind of cut off and wouldn't look as good. But you guys let me know if you have a TV that supports 120 FPS or not. Let me know down in the comments below. And now diving into the final story of the video, Sony going full force on PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, PlayStation Portable, and maybe even PlayStation Vita backwards compatibility. Reading from Video Game Chronicle, PlayStation has set up a new game preservation team according to a new employee, Garrett Fredley, hopefully I said that correctly, who had previously been working as a build engineer for Canadian mobile developer Kabam, has now joined PlayStation as a senior build engineer. Celebrating his new employment, Fredley, again, I don't know if I'm saying that right, Fredley, posted a message on his Twitter and LinkedIn pages expressing his excitement at joining the new preservation team. Today is my first day as a senior build engineer for PlayStation, working as one of their initial hires for the newly created preservation team. Game preservation was my first career passion. It was my first foray into the world of software engineering / DevOps and into a world that so many are unaware of. I was just a novice back then, contributing any way I could regardless of my inexperience. Now I'm back at it. No longer the novice I once was. Thank you, Global Head of QA Mike Bishop and the team for bringing me on board for this adventure. Let's go and ensure our industry's history isn't forgotten. So that last part is pretty much the highlight, ensuring the industry history isn't forgotten. People have wanted Sony to create a dedicated team to bringing classic games back, just have a team focused on that, and one by one bring those games back to current platforms. Xbox has already done this. They had a dedicated team that brought back a bunch of old games for Xbox One and Series platforms, and it seems like PlayStation is doing the same here. The difference for me, as I've pointed out before, PlayStation's backlog is much larger than Xbox, so Sony could have a lot of games coming our way. We've also heard from both Hip Hop Gamer and Jeff Grubb that PS3 emulation is in the works, so it seems to fall in line with this preservation team. I've also heard from Moore's Law is Dead when speaking with Colin Moriarty that Sony does have PS3 emulation working, but for some games only, so this team could expand on that. I'm personally excited and glad that Sony seems to be taking legacy games more seriously, but you guys let me know if you care about playing older titles or not. Let me know down in the comments below, and if you guys did enjoy this video, please hit that like button, as it always helps, and subscribe if you're new. I got new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and now I'll check you guys out on the next one. And welcome back to the after show. This is the part of the video where we have a little fun down in the comments below. If you're old, welcome back. If you're new, welcome. For today's thing, what I want you guys to do is to body, obliterate, destroy, and overall harass the comment section with "I'm ready for June." If you're excited for the new service dropping in June, those legacy titles, those collection of PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 games, the new tiered service, the trials, all that good stuff. If you're excited for June, destroy the comment section with "I'm ready for June," and I'll definitely heart those comments like I always do because I appreciate everybody who stays to the end of my videos. And now I'll check you guys out on the next one.